Hello, you know who it is, Andrew, and I am going to be talking about the 2 years since I left comedy, formerly known as Andrew Van After Comedy, 2 years on. But yeah, I mean this year has been absolutely horrific, in the sense of COVID, right? Okay, so I'll try and get back to that in a wee minute, but I left on that's the 10th of April 2019, and quite quickly after this, I actually got myself an evening job, and for the first wee while I was actually working in the west of Glasgow production unit, and that was quite good. And then I got a transfer to their head office out in the centre of town, which is good. And both sites actually settled in very, very quickly, very, very nicely, and was able to gain, like friendships and working friendships and stuff like that, and it was good. And from October 19 all the way up to COVID, I was in the town, obviously, and it was good. I settled in quickly, like the other site. I ended up getting friends with clients and stuff like that, and that was quite good and stuff like that. And in February 2020, we were getting briefings from our bosses that something was potentially going to be coming into Scotland, and coming to Scotland it certainly bloody did, didn't it? So 23rd of the 3rd 2020, the whole company closed, even the production unit closed. The production unit was closed for about 2 weeks, whereas the main head office was that was closed for nigh on 3 months. And when it did open, it was like maybe about 4 people between 4 floors. That's how empty the place was, where normally each floor could easily hold 95. So yeah, eventually there was a decision that only one staff member was needed out of the used to be 4, and one staff member came in, that was twice a week. So really, it was just lucky I was flexible in the sense that I could return back to the production unit, and I did that. And up to November 2020, I got a phone call, and it was from another company I was working with as a younger boy, man, whatever you like to call it, mad boy. Anyway, so that was that, and actually transferred over to that company again. And initially it was only meant to be a small amount of weeks of work, but it turned out actually to be much, much, much bigger than that, to be fair. And I thought, well, fair enough. And that was due to circumstances out of my control. So I was like, that's no bad, fair enough. So yeah, I mean, it was nice to return to a company I know quite well indeed, and know the staff, know the procedures, know what chemicals etc. to use. It was absolutely amazing. Getting known the clients again. I mean, this company has bases all over Scotland, so that was quite good. Yeah, so that's working life 2019 to 2021. But to be honest, all my shifts are near enough back shift. So to return to watch comedy, whenever comedy does return, it's going to be a straight ass no. The work I do is very, 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 very physical, right? So when I get out of the building and clock off, right? The next lit sign that I would like to see is Glasgow Queen Street. And then the next bit of audio I want to hear is next train for platform 8 is it whatever. That's what I want to hear, right? And then see the train rushing in, jumping on the next available seat, which is in a safe distance, and maybe even fall asleep for 2 or 3 minutes as the train traverses up into my area. That's what I want. Like, headlining acts get about what, £20, maybe 30, right? And depending on what shift I'm needed for, right? If it's a 3-hour shift, I could be sitting around near £27 in my pocket come Friday. If it's a 4-hour, £35 plus, and if it's a 5-hour, it could be anything towards £45, and so on. So numerically, it's actually worth just staying, doing my work, and going home at the end of the day. And statistically, it's a lot better, because I go in, I see my objectives, do my objective, get everything done, and at the end of the night, I have a check sheet and everything's checked, and statistically it looks good, it feels good, and when I go to bed later on at night, I am sleeping lighter. So absolutely fantastic in that regard. I have no interest in return to comedy as a comedian. You'll get to know why later in this video. But yeah, that's just the way of things. I mean, I won't even watch live, videos on the internet, because I'm getting prepped for the next day. So I'd rather focus on me, and maybe I didn't do enough focusing on me. But anyway. So yeah, it works good. I've got other things to focus on. Comedy's not my scene anymore. What is my scene is a new video platform called Friday Night Entertainment, which takes place on YouTube, and also Vimeo platform. The Vimeo platform is for the longer episode and the more kind of explicit episode. So have a look if you haven't got me on Facebook already. Take a wee swatch around the One Van and One Camera page. Anyway, that's enough plugging, for fuck's sake. But as a comedian, I started in October 24th, 2013. And back then, comedy was a totally different world. You had semi-pro nights that were run by a professional. You had to read kind of terms of service, like what's expected of you, what's not expected of you, what could happen if rules are broken, kind of house rules kind of thing, right? And that was pretty much right across the board. You were either forwarded to a clipboard to read the rules, or forwarded to a Facebook page before you got your first performance. And that really did set the rules out black and white, and that kept any fuckboy drama to a non-existent level. It was absolutely brilliant. 2013 October is when I joined, and it was good. It was always set up lovely, and these semi-pro nights were especially fantastic because the way the professional comedian actually set it up, you were actively encouraged to rub shoulders with pro acts, semi-pro acts, and new starts, and there was a lot of kind of good vibes, idea sharing, all that shit. It was really, really good. It was actually excellent the way it was set up. Every of these semi-pro nights, let's say for instance you were running a bit of material by a pro, just saying, how does that look, how does that sound? They go, yes, or change that and sort of that, and you actually got real advice from real professionals and real people, not just subjective yammering from, somebody. It's just came on the circuit 2 weeks ago, so it was really, really good. 2017, I had to come off the scene and be in hospital for just under 6 months. But one thing for sure, during that time of hospitalisation and recuperation at home, I actually had contact with a professional, and he gave me very, very sage advice, which I'll never ever forget. And I'll talk more about at a later point, but I returned onto the scene 2018 April, and nobody had ever told me about this, but semi-pro nights are all vanishing to be replaced via open spot. And nobody told me what an open spot was, and to be honest, if I got told what an open spot was, I would have made a measured and sensible decision what to do next. If I even had 5 minutes of conversation with somebody that was, going to tell me about it, I would have took them seriously and made a measured choice. But anyway, later into 2018, the open spot nights became more prevalent, and unlike the semi-pro nights, I would barely ever see a pro at all in the room at these nights. I always thought to myself, where's so and so? Where's that person? Where's that person? You get me? And I just thought, and then I seen all these people. I was like, where are these people? Where are they coming from? I've never performed alongside them. And and these were people coming off a comedy course, 6-week comedy course or something. And some of them did come on the scene with chips on their shoulder, I'm not going to lie. Or the bizarre thought that a dick joke is funny. No, a dick joke just chokes the shit out of the room. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But, eventually, people with chips on their shoulder kind of calmed themselves down and whatnot. And up at top of year, that's 2019. It was a particularly unpleasant incident at an open spot night at Tenets Bar, featuring an ENTC screaming and shouting in my face, and it was more like spraying me with spit kind of thing. So that would have been a problem if that was under COVID-19 time. But anyway, and I had something to say to him, but because he was shouting out so loud, I had to shout over him, and he didn't like someone shouting out over him, and got bar staff to, let's say, chat me out and barred for a while. So when I came home, I knew that was my days of stand-up comedy ended in possibly the most fatal way possible. But anyway, I got a leaving due on the 10th of April, but up till the 10th of April, between December and the 10th of April, as I said before, if I got known what this open spot stuff was, I wouldn't have touched it. We wouldn't have had to deal with the TC thing. We wouldn't have had to deal with the guy and his weird wonky text messages at strange times in the morning. I would have bypassed absolutely everything. I would have been stain free. I'd have been cancel culture free. It would have been absolutely brilliant. I mean, I sit sometimes at night thinking, if only. But then again, you can only hypothesise with yourself long enough before you bloody crack or something like that. But anyway, yeah, this strange dude between December, got known me December 2018, very, very abusive via either Facebook messages or the text messages at 1:50 in the morning, and 27th of Feb, I received one of these beautiful little handcrafted utterances of writing, and it was wow, right? And I didn't get dealing with it till later on the next day, on the 27th, on the way up to a bus station. And yes, I did pick up the phone and call my account several different times. He was and in between the person hanging the phone up on me and about 10 o'clock at night, the phone call was recorded. Only quarter of it was recorded, and a changed text message thread had been shown to various comedians and obviously with the audio recording out of context, and the doctor text messages, it looked like I was a complete fucking psycho, right? And when I got back into Glasgow after being in Edinburgh that day, I contacted the booker and said, look, that event, 28th of Feb, I'm pulling out. But because the person was fed one side and he listened to it and accepted it without actually going, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right, my replies back from him were true and utter unprofessional. In fact, the booker contacted me the next day on the 28th and apologised for being so unprofessional, and cited the reason I got abusive messages of him also was because a train got cancelled. I mean, I'm not naming locales or anything like that, I'm not interested, right? But that station at night is served by 6 trains an hour, during the day 8 trains an hour, so in actual fact that excuse was utter pish. But I did the night on the 28th actually under obligation, and to be honest, the person with the 1:50am etc was quite abusive. And with the same booker, I had the 10-hour fundraiser thing where I kept quiet, and it was an absolute privilege to be part of it, to fundraise some money, to be in amongst people with such enthusiasm, energy and effort, and being part, as I said, being part of something that is helping children have a better time in hospital, and their parents have rest at these residences just outside the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. It's really quite something. It was a true privilege to be there, and I liked it. The 10 hours of silence, the whole premise is, Andrew can't stop laughing, Andrew laughs at the wrong time and gets into trouble, usual bleh, right? And I had to sit there for 10 hours, venue to venue to venue to venue to venue, listening to the funnies and keeping a straight face. In actual fact, it went easier than we expected, but the thing there was a lot of problem with, and it was causing a lot of issue, and the person that sent the 01:50am message knew how to try and press the buttons, so to speak, right? And the abuse that was flung from that person was biblical, and then it was even getting contracted out to other people, so makes me think, who's that? Well, I already knew. It's not a brain science or nothing. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I was having to keep quiet whilst abuse is getting flung at me left, right and fucking centre. It was awful. It actually got to a point where a promoter actually had to tell people to shut up, stop being so bloody disrespectful. And then another act had to say it in another venue. So really, this is kind of open spot territory. So, think of open spot as demo derby. No rules, no nothing, no regulation, note. Sadly so. But I did the event, and that was quite luckily my last event to the leaving do 10th of April. Had about 11 people there, which, to be honest, it's not too bad. It's 3.5 times the audience you see at an Edinburgh Fringe show, so you gotta take pluses wherever you find them, don't you? So yeah, that was a couple of days after I had decided to take to YouTube to talk about all this culture and shovel stuff under the carpet. I can get away with it because I'm so-and-so's pal. I'm justified. That's a good old phrase I'll talk about just briefly. Right, if you hear somebody saying, yes, I did that, but I'm justified, nobody can justify he, she or anybody. Right, a judge can justify, right? Anyone who hasn't got any connection to Her Majesty's Courts Tribunal Service can shut the fuck up. Entitled dicks. Right, so, I talked about all these, and obviously the video in which was not going to be a liked video. I didn't do that video for likes, clicks, or subscribes. I did it to talk about how it went for me. I didn't care about comments. I didn't care about whatever, but it was a third party trying to convince me into deleting comments and apologising, and that's loopy logic, because if I had spent 6 hours producing the video, including showing things that I was talking about, just to take it down a couple hours later, that's crazy. And I should never have to apologise about describing personal journeys. Everyone else can personal journey, so why the fuck not me? And clearly that was not liked. I wasn't moving. People should know how much of a mule I am on matters. Once it's said, there's no going back. I mean, you've heard various incarnations of movies saying, once you go forward you don't come back, and etc. Right, yeah, that's where we're getting here, right? So that's that. So yeah, that clearly wasn't liked, because the person that tried to convince me to take video down and whatever got a bit mouthy, blocked me. And in a moment of decadent bravery, I did get known about the post, but I was written about, and at the bottom of the message there was a call to action. That's delete, unfollow, don't take phone calls from them, don't reply to text, don't message, usual kind of, and this is where it becomes cancel culture. Quite quickly, let's be honest here, I suddenly started losing friends from the comedy scene. With regard to the cancel culture thing, right, one of the people that I did lose contact with, to be honest, in hindsight, it's a piece of piss, but anyway, person unfriended, so asked them is everything okay, blocked. So I had the person on Twitter, so I tweeted, and within 30 seconds of me tweeting, "How are you?" he blocked me on Twitter. So basically, he doesn't like getting asked "How are you?" So don't ask him; you'll get blocked. But we did have previous communication via email, and in all honesty, actually did contact me back, and the reply was a bit less than enlightening. And yeah, the first part of the email was quoted. It was quoting a whole plethora of quotes from the cancel culture, Facebook status, slapping various names and stuff on me, but not basing anything on what he was calling me. The word toxic comes out quite quickly at the horse's stall, and the thing is, he didn't have anything to actually base what he was talking about. 1, 2, we're going to move into the middle of the email. I'm looking at it right now, and he purports, the man of knowledge purports, I rejoined comedy scene too early. Okay dokie. Okay, boomer! 1. When I was in hospital, I was under this multidisciplinary care team, and also had input from a professional comedian. Right, so we're going to move over to who this multidisciplinary team covered. A consultant psychiatrist, a consultant psychologist, a community psychiatric nurse, an OT, a comedian, and you could maybe even base my mum. Right? And when I came out of hospital in November 2017, I knew I was in there for no common cold. It was pretty fucking serious. And I knew I had to listen to professionals at all times through this. And the first professional that really was talking about things was a professional comedian that was saying, you're in hospital, you have to take it each day. Listen to the care team, also known as multidisciplinary team. And my mum was about the same as well. And when I came out of hospital, I had all sorts of people turning up at my house every day, appointments, etc. And basically, eventually in about March 2018, they said to me, have you thought about going back to comedy? And that absolutely blindsided me, because I was waiting for them, and they said, well, you're more or less ready to go now. There's nothing stopping us. Right? And I thought, wow, I was actually doing the right thing by just slowly waiting and listening, and when I did get my green light, I didn't immediately just jump out the horse's container, right? I took it slowly, carefully, making sure I wasn't getting multiple bookings a day, as the comedian professional had actually talked about. So in actual fact, I was listening to professional comedian and the MDT, and I actually found out, for knowledge sake, right, the minimum amount of years as a time served multidisciplinary team member that was 9 years, and the maximum amount of experience years performing in that kind of multidisciplinary level was 22. So really, I was getting real professional advice by real time served people on each platform. So to turn around and say I came in too soon was an ill-informed, ignorant remark. getting to the bottom of the message, the person says, please do not contact me, as I do not keep contact with contentious people. This is just, there's nothing there apart from an insult. There's nothing really to write home about, to be fair. I don't really know which way to go with that one. I mean, the thing is, this person, with their observation of me returning back too soon, never once did I see him at a comedy venue, so ultimately their statement is just an opinion. It's automatically discarded, and same with the insult. So over and above, don't let people get you down, right? But before I go much further, there are two groups of people out there in the world: people with what you call base inquiry skills, and people who basically just take what's written in a Facebook status and apply it with absolutely no interest in any form of basic inquiry skills, going, is that true, is that fake? No, they just literally, oh, there's a Facebook status. It's almost like a dinner school set up where, big Brenda with gravy ladle spoons on a fuck ton of mashed potato onto a plate, puts it in front of the person and they eat it without any further questions. That is kind of what's happening with Facebook. We are in a brain dead generation. I'm not talking about in comedy, I'm talking about in society, right? We just see statuses potted up, slapped onto a Facebook status, and we believe it without any further question. This is fucked up indeed. It's bad, sadly. Not enough people out there that goes, I know that. That doesn't sound like the actions of Andrew. That doesn't sound like the actions of another. I'm not going to entertain it in any way, shape or form. People just get right fist deep about it. The thing is, obviously there's no way of me returning back to comedy, as I previously said, but ultimately and honestly, numerically, it doesn't make sense returning to comedy. Doesn't really make sense statistically, because with comedy nights, you don't know what you're really getting yourself in for. I mean, you don't know if the audience are going to be for you or against you, or the fellow acts, are they going to be for or against, and you don't know how things are going to go. And most people in a comedy night don't get paid. The people that do get paid are paid about £20, maybe 30, right? On a night of a hard graft for me, I'm near enough £30. If that's a shorter night, if we're talking about 4 hours, you're going towards nearer £40. A longer night, 5 hours, £50. So really, and absolutely honestly, numerically and statistically, it makes sense for me to plough on with my work and not stop one iota. As I've described with regard to cancel culture, there has been what you call collateral damage, in the sense that I've lost friends in the region of, I would say, 20. Shame on them, but there clearly is fatally artificial and asinine as possible. And to be honest, although I've lost these people through the cancel culture, it's actually saved me clicking the button, unfriending them and blocking them. So it's actually working out not too badly for me. And besides, although some another is trying to put high moral standards out for themselves, fair enough, fair play to them, who cares? Ultimately, I can do exactly the same thing, in the sense that I don't attend nights there could be a risk of aggression. I don't hang about with people that have risks of aggression. I don't associate with people with regard to people that would happily shove shit under carpets and undermine people coming forward and saying, look, this has happened, that's happened. Also, I don't connect with people that actually conduct themselves in such an uncouth manner. So yeah, one person can stack their morals high, so can I. it's a quiet life. It's a job that some people could call shit hours and shit pay and whatever, but I'd rather be a boring blue collar slob slapping my way through life and getting a small meagre wage. It doesn't matter about the numbers I get at the end of the week, month, year, whatever. I don't care. I'm making a difference where I go and at my clients' places of operation. So I think, to be honest, I'm quite happy having a distance between the comedy and myself. Remember, this is social distance time, so better keep that shit up. I'm doing alright for myself, as I mentioned, the people that have cut ties with me, great. All these people that call themselves woke and all the rest of it, they're just living one big ass fantasy. And unfortunately, the train for disappointment central has come towards them at an alarmingly fast pace. And they're just too blind. Let them find out their own way. But to be honest, working as in a real job is probably a better thing for me, because I have a preference to work with things of reality rather than working around artificiality. That's something that actually starts getting on my tits quite quickly, to be fair. I mentioned about cancel culture, but I'll say one thing, I've looked at cancel culture in a global sense, not just a comedy or the arts or anything. But once upon a time, before cancel culture came, right, and people who are in sports that were getting abused and they were trying to speak up about it, they got silenced, put in a corner, shamed. The British version of cancel culture then, etc, etc, they were treated like fucking shite, let's be honest, right? And that's always like for the first person coming forward about this or that on whatever platform or whatever industry, right? It's just a way of it. It's that age old phrase, just breaking her in, right? It's that savage level, but it translates the same way, right? The first person will get a horrible ride of it, and then it'll become easier and easier and easier and easier, right? So that's what's going on in this kind of platform and any other platform. The first one gets it fucking tough, doesn't he? Or doesn't she? And yeah, I mean, I'm reading about ice skaters that first tried to speak up. They got ostracised, they got alienated, they got subject to horrible things, even threats of bloody house damage and shit like that. It's terrible. But yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, I've read what you call the course of action of a cancel culture. Right? Cancel culture, right? It always starts with a relatively innocuous argument, then Hiroshima's, then somebody blocks another, and in a moment of gallus bravery they write a aimed at status whilst the person's blocked, and a call to action, the usual shite, stop connection with them, cut the socials, don't reply to emails, don't reply to phone calls, usual kind of rather formulaic shite really. And then very quickly, social choices become narrowed, loss of working voluntarily or working in an industry, then you can see it's absolutely dreadful. And to be honest, the people that dispense cancel culture, they actually have no authority whatsoever. They're not a judge, they're not a MP, they're not a person that works in the city or civic district council. There's absolutely nothing out there to actually go, yeah boy, or "Yeah, go," right, is nothing, right? Apart from assumed authority. Maybe yonks ago the person worked at a guitar shop and was able to give guitars for free to a local school, or maybe the person did computer repair on the free during COVID, and now they've got this weird assumed authority and everyone thinks the sun shines out their backside, but in actual honesty they're just a normal person like us. There's no physical thing like Justice of the Peace, PC, whatever name, or Lord. It's just assumed nonsense. It's asinine. It's acidic. It has been known. I mean, I read a case just before I turned the mic on, saying there was a guy that had a very, very kind of straightforward argument with another person in the music industry, and he got cancel cultured. He actually lost his job. That does not apply anywhere whatsoever to music. He was just a blue collar like bin truck driver. He lost his job, and he lost the opportunity to pick up with other municipal waste contractors. This is how devious cancel culture really is, and in many ways I do want to speak up about how it's not a problem solver. It poses as a problem solver, but it actually causes possibly about 5 times more problems than what we'd like it. It seems to be this weird scenario. It's a bit like trying to give somebody a lobotomy for a migraine. This shit kills, like a lobotomy. It can actually kill, because once a person loses friends, loses a chance to voluntarily work, loses a chance to work, poverty, homelessness, mental health problems / suicide. This is dangerous territory, and how people haven't twigged to the fact that it is extremely lethal, I don't know. But I suppose, the general public are quite gullible and asinine in many ways, and until the light is shining right in their headlights, nothing's going to be changing much. But yeah, overall, now I've explained cancel culture and various things, outlook for me should be quite good at the minute with all this COVID-19 thing. To be fair, it's hard because weeks are very, very varied in time sheets and what I get. So, it's about getting my hands on whatever comes my way. It's been some weeks it's been 0. There's been some weeks it have been maybe 5 hours, just one day here and whatever. But honestly, there's absolutely nothing I can do about it, and I've just got to roll with it, and it really does hurt. Start of lockdown in 2020, I was given a furlough payment only of 1 week, so it's just amazing I've been able to arrange my finances in such a way, because if I didn't have my finances arranged in such a way, I'd be screwed. I'd be probably sitting on the Paddy McGrew, which is also known as the Job Centre Plus. So it is really, it's been so difficult, and also what you call method of access to sites have been really quite difficult as well, because at the company I was working for up to December 2020, for quite a while I couldn't get there by bus, I couldn't get there by train, I couldn't get there by taxi or shared car. I had to either walk or cycle to this venue of work, and it was pretty hard to get to by foot, to be fair. And this thing, so basically if you had anything but your own personal car, I mean personal car, you weren't getting in. It was as hardcore as that. And during that aggressive part of the lockdown, it was actual sheer luck that one, the weather wasn't too bad, and two, I could actually get to the venue on an electric scooter, and security cleared me, health and safety cleared me, and a site manager cleared me to get in. So it was just absolute sheer luck that happened. Otherwise, well, we all know I'd be fucked. I'd actually had to take up. I'd have had to resign and go for another utility mob to work with. So yeah, it has been absolutely difficult. But at least, see, compare COVID-20 to COVID-21, at least we can get out and about. At least we can get to some shops. At least buses are 75% running now. At least the trains are not 1 hour per route. Things are a lot more free. Things are a lot more movable. Things are a lot more doable. And in the next couple of weeks, in the next 2 weeks in actual fact, lockdown is going to be significantly repealed by Nicola Sturgeon on the 26th of April. So really, if we do our things like our social distance, our hand gel, and wearing masks, all the kind of R rates will be lower. Then Nicola Sturgeon will be able to say open sesame, and that'll be absolutely fantastic. But if people are going to be doing things like lockdown evasion parties, illegal raves, sanctimonious protesting, which is not actually a just cause. They're just going out to batter police through the head with bricks. We're going to be in this thing for a wee bit longer, and hopefully people just do the bloody right thing and go, it's not very many days left until we get released. Do the right thing until the last day, and then when Nicola Sturgeon says it's open for you, you can do what the hell you like. But just stick with it, Scotland. That's what I'm trying to say to you. And then hopefully when everything returns to a semblance of normality, I can actually get the near normalistic hours that I've once enjoyed. General summary, I'm happy with I don't do comedy anymore. I do new things on the YouTube and the Vimeo platforms. Things are looking pretty damn good. I would dare say.